The fall of Haman. How the enemy of the Jews was defeated by his own trap. He built the gallows for another man's death. He plotted a massacre that would wipe out an entire people. But in one of the most shocking reversals in history, he was the one who ended up hanging from his own trap. This is not just a story of ancient Persia. This is a story of pride, betrayal, and the unimaginable courage of a queen who refused to stay silent. Tonight, we unravel the rise and fall of Haman, the man who became his own worst enemy. Let's set the stage. The mighty Persian Empire stretches from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces under the iron hand of King Xerxes, known in the Bible as King Ahasuerus. At his right hand is Haman, a man drunk on power. He's not just any official. He's the king's highest advisor, a man who demands that everyone bow to him. And almost everyone does, except one, Mordecai, a Jewish man who sits at the king's gate. Every day Haman passes. Every day Mordecai refuses to bow. And every day hatred burns hotter in Haman's chest. But here's the catch. Haman isn't satisfied with punishing Mordecai alone. No, he wants the total destruction of Mordecai's people, the Jews. He manipulates the king, disguises his hatred as loyalty, and convinces Xerxes to sign a decree. On a set day, all Jews in the empire are to be annihilated. The date is set. The decree is sealed. It's a countdown to genocide. Enter Esther. She's young, beautiful, and favored by the king. But she holds a dangerous secret. She is Jewish, Mordecai's cousin, raised as his daughter. When the decree goes out, Mordecai tears his clothes, puts on sackcloth, and sends a desperate message to Esther. You must go to the king and plead for our people. But there's a deadly problem. No one approaches the king uninvited. The penalty is death, unless the king extends his golden scepter. Esther hesitates. She knows the risk, but Mordecai's words ring in her ears. Do not think that you will escape in the king's house. Who knows if you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? That line, for such a time as this, becomes a heartbeat of courage. Esther agrees, but she makes one bold demand. Go, gather all the Jews in Susa. Fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days. I and my maid will fast also. Then I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish. The fast begins. Silence fills Jewish homes. No food, no water, only desperate cries rise into heaven. Day 3. Esther dresses in royal robes, her heart pounding. She walks into the throne room. The king looks up. Silence. Will he kill her or spare her? Then it happens. He extends a golden scepter. Esther lives. But instead of blurting out her plea, Esther plays her move with cunning wisdom. She invites the king and Haman to a private banquet. Haman beams with pride. Out of everyone in the empire, he has chosen to dine with the king and queen. At the banquet, the king asks, "What is your request, Queen Esther?" "Even up to half my kingdom, it will be given to you." But Esther delays. She asks him to return tomorrow for another banquet. Haman leaves thrilled. But then, he sees Mordecai still refusing to bow. His joy turns to fury. That night, he hatches a gruesome plan, a towering 50-cubit gallows built specifically for Mordecai. By morning, he intends to have him executed. But what Haman doesn't know is that destiny has other plans. That very night, the king can't sleep. Coincidence? Or divine intervention? He orders the Book of Records to be read to him, page after page, until, wait, they discover that Mordecai once saved the king's life by exposing an assassination plot. The king pauses. What honor has been given to Mordecai for this? Answer, none. At dawn, Haman storms into the palace to ask permission to hang Mordecai. But before he can speak, the king asks him a question. What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman smirks. Who else could the king be talking about but himself? So he paints the most extravagant picture. Royal robes, a king's horse, a crown, a public parade declaring honor. The king nods. Excellent. Do all of this for Mordecai the Jew. Haman's jaw drops. He's forced to lead the parade for the very man he hates, shouting Mordecai's honor through the streets. Humiliation burns through him. But the worst is yet to come. That evening, the second banquet begins. The king, curious and impatient, asks again, "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" "It will be granted to you." Esther breathes deep. This is the moment. She looks the king in the eye and says, "Spare my life and spare my people, for we have been sold to destruction, slaughter, and annihilation." The king reels back. Who is he? Where is the man who has dared to do this? Esther points across the table. The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman. The king erupts in rage. He storms into the garden to cool his fury. Haman, panicked, throws himself at Esther, begging for mercy. But as the king returns, he sees Haman falling on the queen's couch. To him, it looks like an assault. Will he even molest the queen while she is with me in the house? The king shouts. The guards cover Haman's face. His fate is sealed. One of the king's eunuchs speaks up. There is a gallows 50 cubits high that Haman built for Mordecai. The king's response is swift. Hang him on it. And just like that, the trap Haman built becomes his own grave. He is executed on the gallows meant for his enemy. The decree against the Jews is overturned. A new edict is issued allowing them to defend themselves. When the appointed day comes, the Jews stand strong, defeating their enemies. What was meant for their destruction becomes their victory. And that victory is remembered to this day in the festival of Purim, celebrating courage, reversal, and divine deliverance. Haman's story is a warning. Pride blinds. Hatred destroys. And evil schemes often backfire on their creators. Esther's story is an inspiration. Courage speaks. Faith acts. And sometimes, the destiny of an entire people rests on the bravery of one voice. So here's the challenge. When the moment comes, when silence is easier, when fear whispers louder, will you choose to stand? Because like Esther, you too are here for such a time as this.